Do you know if you're getting enough fat or the right essential fats? In this video, you'll learn the symptoms of deficiency so that you can identify them in yourself, and you will learn the causes of why you might be deficient in this very important nutrient. This is Dr. Peter Kahn. I'm board-certified chiropractic neurologist and board-certified in integrative medicine. Let me show you how to master your health. Now, dietary fat has been vilified in the past as the cause of heart disease. But as with everything in the human body, it's not so always black and white. Fat is an important nutrient that is a source of energy. It is also a source of stored energy. It provides for insulation, helps to make up the myelin sheath for better nerve function and brain function. It also makes up the cell membrane for cellular nutrient transport. The eicosanoids from fatty acid metabolism regulate inflammation and immune function. And fat is the raw ingredient to make steroid hormones such as sex hormones and adrenal hormones. Now, dietary fat gets broken down into fatty acids and form different types of essential fatty acids, such as omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, and the non-essential fatty acids, such as omega-9. Essential fatty acid means it's a type of fatty acid that your body cannot make on its own, and you must consume it from the diet. Omega-3 fatty acid has an anti-inflammatory property, and omega-6 fatty acid has pro-inflammatory properties. Now, when your omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acid ratio is skewed too much due to excessive omega-6 fatty acid intake, it can lead to symptoms and diseases such as cardiovascular disease, cancer, inflammation, autoimmune disease, and various degenerative conditions. Now, you can watch this video here where I show you the different types of omega fatty acids and how it affects your health. So how do you know if you have an essential fatty acid deficiency or imbalance between omega-3 and omega-6s? Now, one way to tell is by identifying signs and symptoms. This can give you a clue that you may need to make some dietary changes to the fats that you're consuming or do more testing to find the root cause. Now, symptoms of essential fatty acid deficiency can include dry, flaky, and unhealthy skin, because essential fatty acid is a very important component for your skin cells. So poor essential fatty acid status can lead to poor skin health. You may also have dry, flaky, and/or dandruffs on your scalp. So not only is it the skin, but also maybe on your hair. You may have poor hair growth as well as hair loss when you don't have the right amount of fatty acid in your body. You also may have poor wound healing. Essential fats play an important role for wound healing as well. So you may find that cuts and scrapes don't heal as fast. You may also have more susceptibility to infections, that you get sick easier. Colds and flu just get you, where you get sick from everything that the kids drag in from school, or everybody at work gets sick, you get sick as well. You may also have difficulty digesting raw nuts and seeds. Why? Because when you have difficulty digesting raw nuts and seeds, that means you're either not absorbing the essential fatty acids, or you have some type of digestive issue that's preventing you from digesting the fats from your nuts and seeds. You may have difficulty digesting olive oil, avocados, and natural fats. So again, it's a dietary intake problem where you can't digest the fat that you eat. So you tend not to absorb the nutrient from the fat that you eat, or you just don't tend to eat them. You may also have difficulty digesting fatty fish, such as salmon. Again, these are fatty foods. Then if you don't tolerate fatty foods, then you're not going to extract a nutrient from them, either because you're avoiding those foods or you have problem digesting it. You may also crave fatty or greasy foods. Why? Because your body has this inborn wisdom and it knows that it has a deficiency in these essential fatty acids, which you must get from the diet. So if you don't have enough, either because you can't absorb them or you're not eating enough of them, then your body will give you the urge to want to eat more, a craving to eat more. It's trying to force you to go get some because you have a deficiency. So there are symptoms that are directly related to an essential fatty acid deficiency, and you have any of these symptoms, you want to investigate whether you have proper intake of essential fats. Now, this next categories are symptoms that may be related to essential fatty acid imbalance, but it could be also caused by other things. So this is where, if you have these symptoms, then you want to consider essential fatty acid problem to be a potential issue, or you may want to rule out some other issues. For example, you may have cognitive fatigue. Cognitive fatigue is where your mental endurance is decreasing. You used to be able to read a book, And then now you read for 5-10 minutes, you feel like you want to fall asleep and you can't retain the things that you're reading. You used to be able to take a long car trip, now you drive, you feel like you're sleepy or you want to fall asleep after 10-15 minutes of driving. You used to be able to do mentally challenging tasks, and now it's more difficult for you. So these are signs of cognitive fatigue. Now why? Because essential fatty acids play an important role in brain function and helping with the immune system in the brain to protect the brain and also make the structure of the brain. The fats makes the myelin sheath, which help with nerve conduction. So essential fatty acid imbalance can impact cognitive function. It can also cause depression because these essential fatty acids controls inflammation. And depression is really a symptom of inflammation in your brain. Okay, this is very well known now. It's a model of inflammation causing depression rather than just a lack of neurotransmitters. So if you have essential fatty acid imbalance, you can be more inflamed in the brain, which will cause the symptom of depression. Now, obviously, there could be other reasons for why you have depression. You can have blood sugar problems, you can have oxygen problems, you can have gut issues that can cause depression. But if you have depression, this is a box we need to check to make sure that's working for you. Sunburn easily. Again, remember, essential fats play an important role in skin health. And UV light from sun is a form of UV radiation, which will create inflammation under the skin when you're having excessive sun exposure. In people with essential fatty acid deficiency, you may have decreased ability to dampen that oxidation that's created by the UV radiation. So then you'll find yourself sunburned more easily. That may be a sign of essential fatty acid deficiency. You may have tension headaches. Why tension headaches? Sometimes these headaches are actually a sign of inflammation. You can have inflammation of the connective tissues, the musculature, or even the blood vessels that supply blood to your head, and those things can become inflamed due to an essential fatty acid imbalance leading to headaches. Again, there could be other reasons for tension headaches, such as just simply having tension in your muscle. Your trapezius muscles are tight, you have poor posture, but that's something you want to double check to make sure that you don't have an essential fatty acid imbalance. So you're getting massage, but the headache doesn't go away, and maybe a nutritional problem. You may have joint pain and stiffness. Why? Because essential fatty acid imbalance, particularly with omega-3 and omega-6, where you have way too much omega-6, which are pro-inflammatory, not enough omega-3, which is anti-inflammatory, can cause you to have more inflammation throughout the entire body, systemically. So that can show up as stiffness and pain in your joints when you move. You may also have menstrual cramp as a symptom of essential fatty imbalance. The reason is because during menstrual cycle, your body becomes more inflamed. And if you don't have the right amount of omega-3 to omega-6 ratio, where you're too much omega-6 and not enough omega-3, you're going to be in a more pro-inflammatory state. And that can cause you to have more symptoms of menstrual cramps associated with your menstrual cycle. And this is the reason why a lot of women, when they have menstrual cramp, they're reaching for ibuprofen, which is an anti-inflammatory, and oftentimes it will help. But there are nutritional things that you can do to balance the omega-3 and omega-6 so that you experience less of these menstrual cramp, and therefore you don't need to rely on as much of the over-the-counter Advil and ibuprofen. That comes to the point of if you take aspirin or non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, it actually reduces your chronic pain. So if these medications actually help with your pain, then you have to consider potentially that you have an essential fatty acid imbalance. Because the aspirin and NSAIDs are affecting your pain and helping your pain by blocking the COX-2 enzyme. So the COX-2 enzyme is part of that eicosanoid pathway. The eicosanoids are signaling molecules that trigger inflammation and is controlled by these omega-3, omega-6 fatty acid balance. So if you take aspirin or non-steroidal anti-inflammatory like Advil and ibuprofen, and they help with your pain, then that means that that pathway may be impaired due to a fatty acid imbalance. Some people, they just constantly have pain. They keep taking the medication. It kind of helps, but the pain comes back. So the pain medication is just treating the symptom, masking the symptom of pain, but not addressing the root cause. So they keep taking it while they still have an essential fatty acid imbalance, eating too much processed fat, industrialized seed oil, not eating enough healthy plant-based oil like flaxseed, hemp seed, chia seed, or fish oil, and therefore they're constantly having pain that's taking medication to solve instead of treating the root cause, which may be a nutritional deficiency. So those are the symptoms that you want to be aware that can be related to an essential fatty acid deficiency. Now let me know in the chat if you identify with any of these symptoms. If you have any of these symptoms, let me know in the chat that you have these symptoms, and if you're surprised that it's related to essential fatty acid deficiency, because the solution could be very simply nutritional change and lifestyle change. Now, what will cause someone to have an essential fatty acid imbalance, right? So how does that start in the first place? Well, it could be that you're eating a very low-fat diet. If you're purposefully eating an extremely low-fat diet, you don't have a lot of fat in your diet, then you're not going to get the essential or non-essential or any fat for that matter. And remember, fat, whether it's essential fatty acid or non-essential fatty acid, simply as a nutrient, fat is very important. It provides satiety, it provides insulation, it provides fuel in a storage form. It is also the structure for your skin, for your brain cells, for your organs as a protection. So it's important to get enough fat in your diet. Obviously, we don't want to be excessive amount of fat, although there are situations where a ketogenic diet, a very high fat diet, may be useful for a specific clinical purpose. But low fat can be certainly a problem, and most people are not recognizing that having too little fat in the diet can contribute to brain symptoms, skin problems, immune system problems, hormonal problems, and so forth. Number two cause of essential fatty acid imbalance is that you avoid eating fat because you have symptoms when you eat fat, right? That's what we're talking about, difficulty digesting nuts and oils and fish. You eat the fatty foods, you don't feel good, so you just avoid them altogether. So then now when we ask you, do you have any trouble eating fat? Well, I don't eat any fat, so I don't have any problem. Well, if you did eat fat, would you have a problem? Oh yeah, when I eat fat, I feel terrible. Well, so you avoid eating fat due to symptoms. So then you're essentially eating a low-fat diet because you're avoiding eating them, and that can cause an essential fatty acid deficiency or imbalance. Or you eat a lot of fried foods. See, that's going the other direction. You eat too much fat, but it's not the right type of fat. It's not healthy fat. It's synthetic or it's industrially processed seed oil like your safflower oil, sunflower oil, corn oil, soybean oil. These oils are very processed and they're very high in omega-6 fatty acids. And when you fry the fat, then it creates a lot of oxidation. Any type of fat, they'll go through rancidity. They go rancid when they get oxidized, when they meet oxygen. When you fry the fat, it creates oxidation in an increased degree. So the oxidation is very inflammatory, which can deplete your omega-3 fatty acids, which are anti-inflammatory. Furthermore, most of the time when you're frying, you're using these omega-6 fatty acid fats like peanut oil or safflower oil or corn oil, which is more pro-inflammatory. So if you eat too much fried food, that can also create an imbalance between omega-3 and omega-6, leading to a more inflammatory and out of balance immune system. Next is that you eat a lot of processed foods that are packaged, because a lot of these processed food that are packaged, like chips and cookies and crackers and donuts and whatnot, they're all fried or cooked or roasted with these oils. As I mentioned, safflower oil, sunflower oil, these corn oils, soybean oils, and peanut oil, they're all very high in omega-6. And they're all industrially processed so that by the time they already produce this oil, they're already somewhat oxidized and more rancid. Therefore causes more problem in the body. Versus if you're eating something that's natural, like you're eating avocado, you're eating raw nuts and seeds, you're eating extra virgin olive oil, that's a completely different quality of food, right? We all can agree that it's not just the quantity of food, it's just not protein, fats, and carb, it's the quality of that protein, fats, and carb that makes a difference in people's health. Now, the next reason that you can have fatty acid imbalance is that you have gallbladder problems, or your gallbladder has been removed due to surgery. Now, if you have gallbladder issues, meaning you have gallstones and you've been tested and you have low gallbladder bile ejection fraction, your gallbladder just doesn't contract as well, or your gallbladder is removed, that all is going to spell problem with you digesting fatty nutrients, because the bile produced by the gallbladder is very important in emulsifying fat. Emulsification means to make fat more water soluble so it's easier for your body to absorb it. And bile plays an important role in that emulsification process to turn that fatty nutrient into a water soluble compound. Now, what are some of these fatty nutrients besides just fats and essential fatty acids? Certainly, if you have gallbladder problem, the absorption of essential fatty acids and just fatty nutrients is going to be compromised. And some of these fatty nutrients includes also vitamins A, D, E, and K, which all play a very important role in inflammation, in immune function, and as antioxidants. So if your gallbladder is not functioning properly, or you already have them removed, you may be compromised and not able to absorb essential fatty acid, and that can create some type of deficiency or imbalance. Next is that you're very inflamed. You may be very inflamed due to various environmental triggers. This could be due to environmental toxins, could be due to some type of dietary issues, high blood sugar, you eat a lot of processed food or fried foods as we talked about. You may have a lot of stress. So these things can cause inflammation, and if you're very inflamed, your body may run through these essential fatty acids at a faster clip than normal. Because when you're inflamed, you may need more water to put out the fire, right? You may need more essential fats, more omega-3s to resolve the inflammation. So sometimes you can have a deficiency simply because you're really inflamed, not because you're not eating enough, but because you have a greater demand due to the inflammatory state. So what are some of these inflammatory states? Well, that could be due to an autoimmune condition, that can be due to diabetes, that can be due to some type of cardiovascular disease, that can be due to just living eating a standard American diet, or living in a very toxic environment where there's a lot of urban environment where there's a lot of sprays and pollution. And also if you live in a very stressful environment where your job is stressful, you're not getting proper sleep, that all can cause more inflammation, and that can cause these fatty acid imbalances, even if you're actually eating the fats. Now you know the symptoms and causes of essential fatty acid deficiency and imbalance. In the next video, you'll discover tips to restore essential fatty acid status and master your health. If this video helped you understand your symptoms better, please like the video and share with others so that they can get help too. Please subscribe to my channel if you have not already done so you can get notified when I release new videos. God bless you. See you in the next video.